Welcome back to video 2 of 2 in our series of creating learning environments that actually do create sustainable long-term employee change. And it's great to have you here. And in this short video, I'm going to take you through the final point 3 and 4 of 4 key things we did to create for our Outback hospitality and tourism clients, the real changes that we could design within that business so that their whole team, not just their leaders, actually thought more entrepreneurially in how they designed their approach to not only everyday business, but how they would respond to challenge and crisis. So I want to take you through these final 2 points, and then we're going to be able to wrap up. So let's get started. So point 3, let's pick up here. What we actually needed to do within this is introduce a whole new approach to learning and development, which meant that we created a process around and the resources around creating a personalised response to learning and development, which means we created plans and set the business up so that it could deliver personalised learning and development plans to each of its members, not just its leaders, that could do the following. The first one was it needed to be responsive to the changing needs of the business, but also the changing areas of interest within the staff. So it had to be particularly adaptable to what was going on in the world and actually at that local level and state level as well too. So the first thing is those plans were able to do that. The other thing we were able to do through our approach to designing these plans was actually track that return on investment as well. So that meant, particularly from a financial perspective, how was it adding the changes that we were making? How did that add to the bottom line and growth for that business financially as well? So we track that, which has certainly been incredibly exciting to see the change in that. We also were able to check and make some changes too around how we minimised waste as well within the business, and certainly some of those risk threats that the business was facing, we were able to track how they changed over time too, by designing those plans with the staff members to directly reduce that risk and respond to it. So we're able to track the outcome and the impact around that as well. The other thing that these personalised learning plans did is that they allowed the team to be able to celebrate their successes, their wins, their impact, but also to have the means within those plans where we were checking in relatively regularly to understand how any gaps, threats, any risk to each of those staff members perhaps that we weren't identifying, what did they look like? So we had that opportunity through those plans and through the buy-in and engagement of staff to measure that over time as well too. And this was really about setting up the resources, the tactics, the processes to make sure that, as I said in the first video, learning, the acquisition of knowledge is just the beginning. It's what the processes and the systems that we design around it that does actually create sustainable changes in behaviour and action in our team. We can't expect to invest in a course and think, well, yep, why are they not changing? But I talk about that in another video. So that was incredibly important, that we designed ongoing ways of measuring those factors. So that was point 3 in terms of how do we start to get people thinking. And the beauty of that, once again, is they had buy-in. You know, every member of staff and leadership across worked with Kickstart and with management to design what was going to go into those plans and how it would be measured. Point 4, we actually made sure that thinking like an entrepreneur was something that we did all the time, every day, organically, and especially through team meetings. So we completely designed a different approach to how that business was running its team meetings. Because let's be honest, a lot of the time it is a complete waste of time. So we don't want to have that. So there were some things that we ran through, and I'm going to go to that list because I don't want to miss it. And these are the things that we embedded into this formal meeting that they would have every week. Now, there were other opportunities where there'd be organic, sort of off-the-cuff discussions with management and team, but the team would come together every week to do an insightful, honest, truthful post-mortem on what was happening, the reality, you know, of that business, and for each of those staff members. So I'm going to take you through these. I don't want to miss out on anything. So if I can refer to my list, that will be helpful. So in these team meetings, they would make sure that this was always on the agenda. So it wasn't non-negotiable. You couldn't just do it one week and then the next week you forgot or you couldn't be bothered. It became part of that organisational reality. So the first item on the agenda always in this was new ideas or sources of inspiration. So these were things that they had seen either in the workplace or a comment or something that had done through their own experiences that they wanted to bring back and share with the team. They thought it could actually add value. The second point that we put into these team meetings was that we had a time to celebrate key successes, why we believe it had worked. Remember, these were weekly that we did this, so they were sort of briefer sort of meetings. But we want to talk about wins. Yeah, I mean, times are not always easy, so we want to celebrate the wins. So that was one point. The second or third point, sorry, that we would put into this meeting agenda is we had key challenges. So people would actually need to be honest. And I have to say, everyone participated in these meetings in this way and contributed. And it kicked off with management. Management would lead this. So it was a very fair, equitable environment to be in and to be able to share ideas. So challenges. So it wasn't just the role of leadership to actually come up with all the ideas. People knew that when they were there, every player won a prize, as they like to say, and they needed to contribute to how they were going to solve it as a business. Incredibly important. The next one was discussions around any actions that we did that didn't bring the ideal solution, or ideal outcome. What were we hoping we were going to do from certain action and why didn't it work? So that was important. So remember, in one of my other videos, I talk about success bias, where you don't learn or you don't discuss things that didn't work. We openly discussed what didn't work, right? What we expected to get and why we didn't get it and how we were going to make it different so that we get a different outcome next time. And then the other point that we always talk about is out of any actions, of course, there would be many that would come out of when you have this type of conversation. How do we measure the impact and what does great look like when we start to respond to some of these questions as well too. So we did change the reality, deliberately so, of both of those teams. It needed to happen, and it was incredibly enlightening, and it was a great project to work on, and it's still running years after I've certainly parted ways, and I still connect in with those organisations, and they're incredibly isolated areas, and they have full teams working for them. They don't. They invest in doing different and providing evidence around their value proposition to their team. So that is what this is. This is about real, sustainable, quality learning and process that once you have it established, it can run itself. You'll keep reviewing it and you'll change it, but if we don't have the right foundations and resources to be able to work from in terms of content, and then how we're allowing people to have the resources to use that, then really we're not in the game. So please, those of you that are pro members will get the notes. You'll be able to come back and really take yourself through this video and have the notes and the questions and the concepts to delve into. Come back and look at the video again. Please put your questions, ideas and comments around what we've asked. We like to put questions to you. If there's something that's come out of this and you want to discuss it, reach out. I'm always happy to enlighten you further. And yeah, certainly look forward to having you in our next video. Have a great day.